So, Jake, can you sing the really trashy rap song you were just talking about?
No, I could, but I refuse to. But she she does this like rap thing, and it's real like basic like baby's first rhyme book, because she's rhyming every word with the next word instead of like building bars and doing it like structurally. She's like, this word rhymes with that word, rhymes with that word, rhymes with that word, rhymes with that word. And I was like Mallory was showing me things like TikToks, I guess, of her, and she's got the biggest fake eyebrows I've ever seen in my entire life. But what's a good way to like describe it?
Like a ratchet.
Like if you saw just these antlers in the woods, you'd probably shoot at it thinking it was a buck. They're pretty fucking awful. You could drag her face on a baseball diamond to even the dirt. That's how big these fucking things are. And
when she bats her eyes, you get strong wind gusts across.
Yeah,
town.
when she bats her eyes like off the coast of Portugal, Florida gets a hurricane like a month later. Her eyes are the new chaos theory, yeah. And for better or worse, she has followed the child back on Snapchat.
Ew.
Yeah. The next Slim Shady is this person. And I'm not even going to tell you her name because I don't want to give her any promotion on this podcast. But
well, tell me after. I want to look at
Yeah, me too. I want to see. Don't worry, Mom. I'll text you and let her know who this person is.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And then like I started thinking about like if I had a cell phone, you know, whatever, back in the day, like who would I have at her age tried to get a follow back? Like who would have been a good get? You know, who was popular on the internet? Then I was thinking like, you know, Epic Mealtime, like John LaJoy was coming out with his rapist glasses bit at the time. Joe Cartoon, you know, Kill Frog. Those classic Stick Death, you know, those classic websites.
Christopher Titus, probably.
Oh yeah, with Christopher Titus. What the fuck was it? Adam Savage, I think, from that video game show. No, not Adam Savage. What the fuck was his name? Was it Adam Savage?
I think it was Adam Savage. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really fucking funny. Yeah.
Adam Savage, the Mythbuster.
No,
yeah, that is his. What the fuck was that guy's name?
Fuck, what was it? I will tell you after the break.
Yeah, we'll tell you after the break. But someone else who I would have really liked to have gotten like a really good get follow, especially back then, was Daniel Ricciardo. And with that, we are the Tire Preference Podcast, and we're here to talk about Formula One. So sit back, motherfuckers, buckle up, because this is going to be a power episode. We have to charge through a lot of subjects because we took an off week last week. We did not record at all. Mostly because people were traveling and going on vacations and shit. So let's just get right into it before we forget, because if we go on a tangent, we will forget this. We now have finally an update. Dave, where are you?
Yay!
I'm all the way on the right side of the country. So now we span 4 fucking time zones, and it's late. And it's early for Tyler.
I've been off work for like an hour.
Yeah,
Dave, what time is it for you?
It's currently 9:24 p.m.
Ooh. For those of you keeping track, for normal, it is 6:25 p.m. for me.
Anyway, yeah,
and I'm stuck in the middle. We are in 3 different time zones for the first time ever.
We are coast to coast.
Yeah, we
are.
Oh,
we were 3 time zones last time. God damn it. Shut up, Dave. Why gotta be so fucking right all the goddamn time?
Dave's trading in the bears and the deers and all the cute, fun wildlife, sans the bears, for alligators, lizards, and bats. All of that.
Yeah, iguanas and Steve Irwin murderers.
Yeah. For the gulls,
all those things,
and pain clinics, and what else they got out there?
If you're
Mosquitoes and
swimming
humidity.
in the ocean, Dave, and you see one of those cretins that shall not be named, you need to swim down and stab it to death because the Earth don't need them. They took out
I
Steve
don't know.
Irwin.
Steve
the Earth
Irwin
don't
still
need
got
him.
shooters out there. Actually, don't.
Don't.
Yeah, I
They're
ain't
probably
gonna fuck with
endangered. You probably get arrested.
Probably fucking get.
Yeah.
I want to
You know,
see
it's
Where
not
you're-
endangered.
I think we
You're in
might take
Florida. Then.
yeah, we might take out kayaks tomorrow and check out some of the mangroves and shit that are around.
Okay,
Fucking,
so
you
on the
better
river,
take something you can fight fucking alligators with.
the shotgun.
Yeah, fucking Jesus.
Well, it'll be in salt water, so there's no like salt
So
water.
it,
cracks
but it's
down
like
there
a
or anything.
river thing, right? Because that's where the mangroves are.
Partly.
Because I would never take a kayak into the ocean. Because if a current catches you, good fucking bye. Like you might as well choke yourself to death with the oar because you ain't coming back.
Jake, to be fair, not every beach and ocean current is like that in that of the Pacific Northwest, specifically Oregon. There are a few places you might have a chance and you might be okay.
Yeah, until a
that
fucking
being-
hurricane comes over and like sticks you right in the butt.
Key West
Yeah,
is a
no
good
shit.
place.
But something tells me Dave's got enough brains going on upstairs to not see the weather report and be like, oh, there's a hurricane a couple hours away. So I'm gonna go out on the
Oh
kayak.
fuck that!
There you go,
They'll
Sean.
give us the fucking evacuation notice probably days before.
Yeah, hurricanes don't fucking sneak up out of nowhere. They're not fucking sneaker waves.
So I like that Dave can just pick up house and drive away from danger. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Dave is also in the worst place to flee from danger because there's only one road out. And that's not to say that there's not a paved road. There's literally one fucking road out because I think there's only one road connecting all the islands you're on.
Yeah, the intercoastal or what's it called, the overseas highway.
So yeah, Dave
Highway
can't just
1.
put it in 4 low and fucking grass fucking trail it out to
No,
safety.
there's one
For
way
those
until
of you-
you get to the mainland.
I don't know if we mentioned it, but Dave resides in Florida now, just for
Yes.
the time being. I don't
But
know
exactly where in
if nobody
Florida-
caught on to that.
not like your address, but
We'll say the Key West area.
yeah, he's in the Key West. He's in the Keys, the west of the
Yeah.
Keys.
I can get
You,
to Key West in no time from where I'm at.
Would you call it Margaritaville down there?
Have you seen Jimmy Buffett?
No,
Yeah.
no, I have not. Although tomorrow we're gonna go eat at some place that it's at like a marina restaurant, so I'm sure there'll be some,
Oh, you're going to see some
some
Buffett.
shit going there. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
near
Well,
Key
we
West.
mostly
so
want to
you
go there
are
because there's
in
like resident manatees at this marina. So
fucking
wanna see
manatees
fucking
are a useless
manatees.
creature.
Yeah, they're fucking sea cows.
They're only built to get ran into by props on boats.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they
were
exist.
they were
They're
built
fucking
by the
awesome.
propeller industry, the boat propeller industry, to make more. Boat
Yeah, they
propellers.
were. But look, our propellers are so strong they can cut up a manatee blubber and
Mhm.
fucking still get you, to the party cove.
That's gonna get you up to your favorite fishing spot, and in worst case scenario, you got Sea Burger on the way home.
Sea burger on the way home. They don't taste too good, so make sure to season well.
Seasoned real well.
Also, your next destination after this being in the dick tip of Florida is to go up to the the dick. I can't look at Tyler when I talk sometimes because I can stay in character until he starts talking.
Something to send you guys on the break that has to do with that.
You're gonna have to go to the dick tip of Alaska and the Aleutian Islands and go stay up there for the summertime and then still be colder than you ever have been in your entire life.
yeah, no shit. We did apply for a place up near what was it, Valdez, Alaska.
Valdez.
No, but yeah, so Dave's at his new home. That's pretty cool.
I am,
Happy that he had
finally.
safe travels
Yeah,
across
we're glad he
country.
went.
Yeah, it
And he's
took,
able to
like,
come visit me
long
for
time.
a day. So
Yeah, it was fun. We got to watch
Yeah.
the race.
yeah, we
Excuse me,
watched
sorry.
the USGP.
was a good
So
time.
just to get like a little bit of update and bookkeeping for you guys, we did take a day off, mostly because Dave was traveling, a little because Tyler was traveling, and it was just going to be really impossible to record, mostly because Dave spent a lot of the time not only driving but in town a lot. And if anyone has ever left town to go live somewhere else and then return to town, you know how absolutely fucking busy you are. So
Yeah.
because of that, we didn't record. So this is
the only thing we planned was like a dinner with Annie's aunt, a Thanksgiving dinner with her parents, and then like the race. But we ended up being so full the whole time of shit to do.
So we're going to talk briefly about the USGP. We're going to talk briefly about the Mexican GP, and then we're going to do a little bit of the news, and then a rumor corner because those are so much fun. And we'll do our predictions for the next race this Sunday. Is this the last race?
Is there a race this Sunday? I think there might be a week off.
No, there's a week off, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, well then, fuck you guys. You're not going to hear our predictions this time.
Because the next one's in Brazil, right?
Yeah, Brazil, and then they go to Abu Dhabi.
Yep, for the season, the season finale. Which is it sucks because pressure's on. I start a new part-time job after the last race. So
you start a part-time job after the last race?
Yeah, I do. It's gonna be researching. Because if I don't like force myself and keep track of my hours, I will fuck off and do yard work or play video games all Saturday instead of researching for the podcast. So
nice.
How many how much time off do we have between till the next to the start of the next season?
March.
Fuck, like 2 weeks probably.
November 20th is the last race of the season. And I think that the next season starts a couple days after St. Patrick's Day.
That's going to be another one of those. If anything exciting happens during the last race, don't call me because I'm not going to be able to watch it live that day. Yeah. But anyway, we'll cover that later. Yeah, so like the season ends and then it's like Christmas happens and then all of a sudden it's like people start announcing like, ooh, our car is going to be released at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So I got the schedule up here for the 2023 calendar. February 23rd through the 25th is preseason testing at the Shakar Grand Prix, and which is they did the late testing there this year, and then March 5th is going to be the season opener at Bahrain.
March 5th,
which will be the
fun
March 5th.
Fun. Mark it on my calendar.
Yeah, we did talk about the calendar a couple episodes ago. It's going to be the longest calendar of in a long time. I don't know if it's the longest calendar ever.
23 races, right?
Something like that. I have them all in front of me, but I'm not going to sit here and count them out. But the season will end. Next season will end on the 26th of November. So
yeah. I think they're only I think there's 2 new races that they're doing, but don't quote me on that one. I think it's like Vegas and then one other one.
The US?
No, the US is in Vegas, obviously. I think it is 2 new races from this season.
Oh, 2 new races. I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, it's like there's 2 new races from this season.
Yeah, Vegas. Well, and a new to some is going to be China, especially if you're only just getting into the sport last couple of years. So
China. I've never seen a race there.
China.
Oh Christ.
All right, well let's get to it. So I am Jake. I'm sitting here with Tyler and Dave, who we've already talked about briefly, so you know who he is. Mr. Dave over there rocking the sweet stash,
Yo.
Going full dad mode.
Yep.
And on this podcast, we like to sit back, relax, ramble on with a bit of a beverage in our hand. So this time I'll go first. I'm drinking a Torpedo IPA from Sierra Nevada. They're pretty good, little short guys. And I got a fresh squeeze from Deschutes because I'm going West Coast beers today. And then I'm going to be drinking a lot of Liquid Death because I cannot stop. It's so good. I don't know why it is, but it just is.
Is that sparkling or not?
It is. So they
Very
have
good.
they have regular, just straight up water. Then they have sparkling, and then they have like lime and berry and mango, and they're all really good. So, Dave, what are you sipping on over there?
Well, as I said earlier, I've been on the road a lot. So last night I decided, since we were done with the road for a while, I was going to get good and tanked. So I'm hungover today. So I'm drinking Pedialyte.
Yay!
Yay! When I was down in California this last weekend, I got a big fuck off box of Sierra Nevada Pale Ales. They have made the trip home with me, so I have a lot of Sierra Nevada Pale Ales to bring.
Yay! Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Yay! We
Those
bought
aren't
a
bad.
Costco sized bunks because we had like a little party down there, and I was the only one that drank them. So
Oh, nice.
Yay!
That's awesome.
So yes, let us now talk about the U.S. Grand Prix.
Yeah, couple
Yeah,
weeks
yeah,
ago,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, we got something to talk about. So this U.S.
Oh,
Grand
what
Prix.
was the last podcast we did? I titled it America. Was that just our preview for it?
Yeah, it was. I was kind of confused, and I was like, maybe Dave doesn't know what this podcast is about. Glad I rolled with it. I did like in the description that he said, and watch Dave's eyes slowly shut throughout this entire podcast.
I noticed by the end they were just like this. Oh my god. I was a little toasty after that one.
It was so fucking funny. I think I still have 10 minutes of that to listen to.
I don't think I got it.
It was really good though. So yeah, the USGP. The last one we were doing was a bit of a preview for the USGP because it was going to be the next race. And I think we recorded that when you were in town. The last podcast.
We did. We were gonna try to do it together, but just
yeah, logistics were a bit of a fucking nightmare, just to say the least.
It's true.
So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the USGP. So normally what I like to do when I'm watching these races is I'll get myself like a cup of coffee or something, or like an energy drink, and I'll get some food. And I got my notepad set up on the table in front of me, and I got my food, and just kind of watch, and I'll jot down notes while the race is happening. But that didn't happen this time because Dave brought over a case of beer, and I stopped taking notes lap 3, I think.
Yeah, they didn't last long.
Yeah, I trailed off on notes too. I was having technical difficulties.
Yeah, Tyler was having hard technical difficulties.
I try to take notes sometimes, but I forget, and then Annie will be like, "Write that down." I'll write it down because I'm usually standing up, just watching it. I don't know why I watch races standing up. I can't just sit and watch it.
That's right. So
feeling the action.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and dive into it. So we had pretty eventful weekend. I mean, it was at the USGP. It was a massive audience, probably one of the bigger audiences that racetrack has seen.
400,000 people.
Yeah, it brought an estimated
huge.
$1 billion in revenue to the area over that weekend.
Good for them.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, and then that count that's all estimated, like money that the airport's getting, ride sharing's getting, hotel rooms, food, that kind of shit. So
yeah.
Definitely booming the old economy there in Austin. So go them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, really cool. And hopefully, we'll keep that solidified on the calendar. Although I gotta say, with all this other US races happening, the one I see that is the most solid is definitely Austin. And that's not to say because Miami is his first year and Vegas is coming around next year. I think that like a lot of people like this racetrack.
It's just a cool track.
It is. It's in a really good spot right now. And this might sound a little bad, but it's almost as much of a novelty as it is an actually good and challenging racetrack. Because it is a really good and challenging racetrack, but it's also in Texas, so everything's like exaggerated, and people are wearing there was that one year that fucking Renault had cowboy uniforms, and you saw like a really sad, Danny Ricardo was like a 9-year-old at his birthday party where his uncle, got him in the bathroom for a second, and he just like rail back with his head down.
Danny Ricardo rode in on a horse.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's funny.
Cool.
We had some guy playing guitar while he rode a horse. Like,
oh yeah, that's right.
Dave says some guy. I didn't watch it, but there's probably someone out there going, "It was fucking, blah 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 blah. It's like the greatest guitar player ever. Go fuck yourself."
Yeah,
I don't know who that was.
I don't know who the fuck it was either. They weren't. If it wasn't, I don't know. It wasn't important.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't quite catch any of the practices, and then I think I just watched the qualifying highlights. So I have nothing really to add to that portion, I guess.
I just don't remember anything that really happened. It was so long ago, and I didn't take notes.
I do have two things that I remember.
Right. I have two
actually.
notes. That's all I did was take two notes. One of them is like not even worth mentioning, but the first one's kind of funny. So
yeah,
I liked to watch the practices and qualify. Sorry, I was gathering my thoughts for a second. I like to watch qualifying in the practices when I can, because more than anything else, it just kind of shows me how the drivers are driving on the track, how their cars are handling the track, and all that stuff. And if you know what to look for, it can really give you an insight on how the race weekend's going to be. Kevin Magnussen is really quick in the straights, but if he gets behind even just one car, he's driving a potato. And so that kind of shit will like kind of give you an idea of what's going on this weekend. But I missed all those, and I didn't even watch the fucking qualifying because we're getting toward that point in the year where we already have our champion. So who the fuck cares? Yeah. It's hard to say, like, you want us to be a super fan and you want to stay, like, especially with the podcast, you want to stay on brand and be like, well, everything's interesting in F1. It's not. It's once the champion has been decided, it's not. It is instantly not as fun anymore. And people are like, oh, well, the gloves will come off and they'll start racing. They won't, because they haven't. It's been 2 races and none of that has happened. So
the last 2 races were kind of boring.
Yeah, they were super boring. And it's almost getting to the point now where, like, with the wind tunnel allocations and all that stuff, that it's like that episode of South Park where they're playing baseball and they're just trying to lose. And so they can get more wind tunnel time with their preseason for next year.
I tell you, Williams is fucking killing it in that department.
Yeah,
they really are.
I did have 2 notable events from the United States Grand Prix. They always call it George.
Are they after the start of the race?
Yeah.
Okay, you're fine. So, then let's get to it when we get to it. So we have formation lap, whatever. That's kind of Carlos Sainz started on pole on that one, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yep. So that was a little fun. Carlos Sainz getting on pole, beating out Max Verstappen in Q3 to take that pole position and all that stuff. And we had the Aston Martins there, the turtle car, and we had lights out, and away we go. Very enthusiastic track cross by the flag waver. And the cars are off. They're going up the hill. And then what happens, Tyler?
Carlos Sainz wrecked out
because of that
on the first lap of the second race in a row.
I have in my notes, and I think I said this out loud. So first off, I put USGP on there, and then I said America, fuck yeah, and then turn 1, lap 1 happened, and I said Russ is a cock.
My note was Carlos Sainz is also Captain Consistent because he consistently wrecks on the
it wasn't his fault this time.
That was not his fault.
No,
Russell stuck his nose right in the asshole and fucking got shit on. This is coming. This is coming from the person that witnessed Hamilton come on the inside of Verstappen and launch him into the wall at Mach 20. And says that Hamilton should be charged with attempted murder. However, when Russell does it on the inside, again on a turn, it's like, well, maybe could have.
No, I'm not saying. I'm 100% agree that it was Russell's fault, but I will appreciate about Russell didn't immediately get on the radio and be like, "It was my corner. I was ahead."
He did. It was the next turn. He goes, I don't know what he was thinking. You know, he turned in front of me, which sure, like in the onboard, Science did turn in front of him, but that's so Science didn't run into the fucking leader. Was it Max Verstappen at that point?
Yeah.
And guess what? Cars in front of you get the right of way. They can't see you coming up behind them. You know, I get it. It's lap one. You're trying to get ahead, but at the same time, man, have some couth. Know when to pass. That wasn't the time to do it.
And unfortunately, that was the end of Sainz's race too. He made it all the way back to the pits, and they had a coolant leak, so that he
had to retire him. Makes him Tire Preference Podcast Driver of the Day.
He also got to, everyone's got their usual
fourth time this season.
Their usual finishing position on the grid, and Carlos Sainz is in his bus.
Right. It's so fucked up.
He's getting real good at watching.
All I'm saying is like, I don't want to be that person that's like, well, if Ferrari had done better, they really would have brought the fight to everyone else. The thing is, like, Ferrari was doing better because Charles Leclerc finishes really well all the time, except when he gets, a little too hot and heavy on the brakes in Japan in the wet and gets a 5-second penalty and causes the world championship to be shifted over to Max Verstappen. But
or bad pit strategy.
Well, bad pit strategy thing, but it's not the driver's fault so much because, I mean, sure, there was a couple times when Carlos Sainz kind of fucked himself over. But there was also a couple times where he didn't, and he just got pushed out, or his fucking engine caught on fire.
Yeah.
And then it was just one Ferrari trying to finish the race, and they're still managing to be in second place, I think, right now, or they just got third in constructors.
I need to check that because
I'll check it right now.
Number one's been settled.
Yeah.
But that's the end of the race.
That's what happens when you go over the cost cap.
Hey, that was because of catering. Immediately.
Well, maybe they should have spent their fucking, burrito money on something else.
I'm excited to see what Mercedes catering budget's going to be next year.
Yeah, no kidding. Did you? There's a thing.
Salami sandwiches with mustard on them.
It was like Toto Wolff after next year going 250 million over the cost cap, and it's like he's in like a Mercedes just doing fucking crazy speed.
Mm-hmm. Or they'll show like in that video of like Hamilton drag racing that jet, and it's like Mercedes planning for next year, and it's Hamilton touching the jet.
So
the other thing that
no, go on.
I was going to say it was a little later in the race, but the other thing that I wanted to talk about was there was that wreck with Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll.
Right.
Oh, man.
I have to say it was 100% Lance Stroll's fault, and that is the most restraint I have ever heard from Fernando Alonso on the radio. Yeah, I immediately know what he wanted to say. So because it was a pretty nasty looking wreck. It was a really stupid move on Leclerc's part. And that's because, not Leclerc, sorry, Stroll. And that's because Lance Stroll's a fucking moron and barely knows what he's doing.
Right. He barely exists.
What was that?
He barely.
Yeah, you're not there to compete. You're simply existing on the track.
He just like whenever he's done taking a shit, he like kicks his door open and like calls for Anita to come wipe his ass.
Wipe me.
Yeah,
I'm dirty on my ass.
I'm a race car driver.
Bring the hot washcloth.
So one of my favorite images from the race is like Fernando Alonso at the end. He gets out of his car and he sits on the tire. And I can't tell because of like, A, he's just super happy because he had an incredible drive after that, or B, he was just like, fuck, this is going to be a long time over at Aston Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's gonna be fucking second fiddle to Lance Stroll.
Is he the second driver?
Fuck yeah, he's gonna be second driver. Are you shitting me? That's my guess, at least.
Lance, what a cunt.
What a fucking.
He's like whenever they talk to him, he's always got that like wet upper lip of like an unnose wiped toddler. You know, like he just shows up to you like you use these things, and you're like, yeah, I'm fucking sitting on them. And meanwhile, he's like, is that what yeah. Or like, for we don't have younger listeners, but if there were any younger listeners listening to this, 30 fucking years from now, he'd be like the snot nosed, wet lipped kid that came up and said, "Do you have any games on your phone?"
Yeah. Can I play games on your phone? Yeah.
Can I play Roblox?
Can I download games on your phone?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
We delete them when we're done.
So
Fernando Alonso got launched on a fucking wheelie for way too long.
Oh man,
it came down, and I think like the most
lucky
amazing
it
part is he
flip or
didn't have any
something.
fucking suspension fuck ups.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
just
no,
sent him
but
back
he's-
out.
He
He still managed to get back to the
damage.
race, and
Yeah.
he muscle fucked his way back up into a points finish.
Right.
And which is like fucking incredible. And again, I think that there was probably a moment in the car where he was like, just be quiet on the radio. Like I'm sure there was just a moment of that.
Yeah.
Just
What's that in Talladega Nights where he's like, "Whoop, I'm airborne." I'm definitely airborne.
Well, you think about, and he said, I don't know, maybe that was this week. Sorry, we're jumping ahead. But he's always super vocal on the radio. My favorite thus far, if he's not roasting the team, it was when Hamilton didn't give Rude a pass. He's like, this guy only knows how to win from first place. Or pole position.
That was at Spa.
Or Hamilton's
So that's
mirrors, or his car doesn't have mirrors today, I guess.
Yeah,
that's stuff he's willing to say to fucking Lewis Hamilton, like what he's willing to say and probably has said about Lance Stroll. I want to hear, but yeah, he was real fucking quiet on the radio, which was probably a really smart move on his part.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you're a couple of bad radio messages away from either not getting on the team you've already been promised on, and then not having a seat next year.
Yeah, or you and Danny Ricciardo are going to be real good friends next year.
Right? No shit.
I think that's. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just this random thought that popped in my head. There should be like a special 11th team that are the two drivers that don't get a seat end up on that team and they have to fight their way back to.
Yeah, I said it's going to be
like the loser bracket.
Yeah, it'll be Ricardo, and which shouldn't call him a loser. He's a great driver. Same with Alonso, but then he's got to they have Nicholas Latifi they have to contend with also.
Sorry,
but they get this year's Williams car. Oh goodness.
So long story short, the USGP happened and we would have had a more in-depth podcast. However, we didn't record and reasons, and we have stuff to talk about.
Also at the USGP, with the way that Red Bull finished, which I think was both of them on the podium, they have wrapped up the Constructors' Championship. Woohoo! They have broken Mercedes' winning streak. I think Mercedes won
8 years in a row, wasn't it?
8
years in a row, something like that. Yeah,
they did.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you look at it, the previous Constructors' win was before Mercedes started destroying, was also Red Bull. So that was kind of cool.
All right, so moving on to something people actually care about. Ferrari still reigns supreme with the most championships. I think there's 16 or something like that. They have 16.
There was no better football team in the 90s than the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, you're not wrong. These are facts you're saying. So.
I'm also a Dallas Cowboys fan, so don't take that the wrong way.
Yeah. Does anyone else have anything they want to say about the USGP?
No, not really. It was fun watching over your house, but other than that,
yeah, we had a lot of fun
the race
watching it.
Wasn't really super exciting. I mean, there were some
It
cool
was just-
moments, but
it was also nice to have other people to yell at the TV with.
I know.
That would have been cool.
So
I was having technical difficulties, so as soon as all that started, it kind of just took the wind out of my sails about the whole race. It took me, because the fucking browser kept freezing, it took me like 20 minutes to watch the last lap of that race. So by the time when I had finally limped it along to the podium celebrations, it finally like froze on Max, like on the podium before the music even started or any of the celebrations started. And I was like, fuck it. I'm done.
I used to watch every single podium celebration because I thought, like, it's fun. This person did put a lot of effort forth and did win this race. They deserve to get viewed with all this shit. I did every time Lewis Hamilton won. I did every time. But the last two races, I have not been able to bring myself to watch the ending celebration. I just can't do it. Like, I don't want to fucking see Max pop champagne and listen to his fucking stupid ass national anthem, which is dumb. Like, that might be disrespectful to some, but that country's got a dumb fucking song for the national anthem. There's 1,000 billion different combinations you could make on the fucking pan flute or whatever the fuck you use in that goddamn wooden shoot country. But that's the one they chose, and it's fucking stupid. It is. It's awful. Like, that does not intimidate anyone. It doesn't make anyone happy. The only reason people go to that country is for Amsterdam and to look at windmills, and that's fucking it.
I think someone's a little bit bitter because they didn't hear the Italian national anthem very much this year.
I mean, the Italian national anthem is a pretty happy, number. It's a pretty happy.
Biased opinion there.
Is it not? Is it not like one of the happier songs? There's like the part where it starts like it has a
there,
beat drop in the middle of it, and the breakdown where they like bring the horns in like a fucking uppercut of flowers to your face. I don't know. It's just fun. It's not as cool as some of the other national anthems. But I would have to say, like, the two toughest sounding national anthems I think I've ever heard are ours, obviously, and then the Russian Soviet national anthem that they sing on the Hunt for Red October. Let them sing. That's a pretty tough sounding national anthem.
I don't know. When they're down in Daytona and everyone starts singing Sweet Home Alabama, that sounds pretty fucking tough too.
Like built for tough.
Mm-hmm. What was I gonna say? I stopped watching them also just because, I mean, for most of the season, I watched like the first couple celebrations and then it became just the interviews, and it was like after the interviews, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
I still watch.
It is important to see those interviews, and I like doing the cool down rooms too. But I don't want to watch Max Verstappen pop champagne with Checo again.
Yeah, I will say I get tired of hearing the Austrian and Dutch national anthems for sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the thing that I miss is when they would during the cool down room, there was that always the risk of the audio getting cut.
Right. And now they have signs that they like don't swear and all that stuff.
Lame.
So dumb. It's like
so dumb.
I would say the majority of people in this world use swear words all the fucking time. And there's like that
shit.
The small number that don't.
Podcast.
Fucking A.
Fucking A.
You guys want to talk about the fucking Mexican race too? That was some.
Yeah, let's do it. Actually, when we first started talking about this one, you guys when you were talking about the attendance, I thought we were talking about the Mexican Grand Prix for some reason.
That Mexican Grand Prix.
I didn't catch the intro because the TV wasn't up loud enough, but I did see on F1 that the intro was mariachi music.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
It was pretty rad.
That's awesome.
It was pretty cool.
That's great. I didn't. That race was on, and I was kind of paying attention to it, but we were down in California, so I was listening to my grandma, my mom, and my fiance sit around a table and talk, and so I was kind of listening to that and kind of watching the race.
Shooting the stink eye, like
yeah, and the one. You guys, I mean, it was last week. I don't want to jump too far ahead into the race weekend or anything, but the one thing I really wish I would have heard was Fernando Alonso, back to him bitching about, I think it was the engines on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
There's something, he did not seem like he was a happy camper.
No one seemed like a real happy camper on the Old Mexico City Grand Prix because it was, I mean, except for Max and Checo.
Yeah, Mexico.
Mexico.
I mean, Daniel seemed pretty happy. He did pretty good at that race too.
Sure, yeah, he did, but
I don't think
it's like, okay, yeah,
you
Daniel
could be
Ricciardo
too
passed
happy with
1,000
him.
fucking people. Why now? Why now, brown cow?
Yeah, no shit. Also, Max won that one, so that brings him to the world record holder for the most races in a single season.
But he
You know how
still
many
doesn't
races
have
that
the
is?
percentage, though. That still belongs to Schumacher.
Right.
It's like by
We gotta
2%,
go.
I think.
We got a goat in the making here.
Do you have how many races he won this season so far?
14.
14.
Previous record for wins in a season was 13. That was held by tied with Michael Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel at 13.
German
So
drivers.
Yes. But no, none more. Max has it. That's pretty cool. So now I think you could probably take the next two races off, and
But he won't.
He won't. He won't.
he won't. No,
He'll
that's
go out
not
there and
how
fucking
race car
win 'em.
drivers work. But
No, he won't.
If I had to bet,
Yeah,
he'll
and-
most likely be on the podium, if not win.
So, look, it has to be said. The Mexico Grand
Okay.
Prix was fucking boring. I don't care who
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah,
It was a
pretty boring.
fucking boring race. It was.
it's been exciting in the past, but this one was pretty
Sure,
fucking boring.
but this wasn't one of those times. And I was ready for, you know, I'd like my coffee out. I went and I got some sushi, and I even pronounced the Japanese pot stickers properly. And the lady was like, "Ooh, yeah, yeah." You know, I didn't say gyuzo,
yeah,
I
that's
said
great.
gyozo. And she's like,
Did
"Ooh,
you-
yeah."
Did you bow to her also?
No, because that would have been fucking weird.
Just saying. Anyway, sorry, go on.
So yeah, I had my sushi and all already. I was pretty fucking excited. And yeah, very, very boring. There's, you know, the part where I was like, man, I wish I could fast forward through this because there's about, you know, and I feel like the French Grand Prix was more exciting than this one.
That was such a fucking boring race.
That
It
one
was, but I mean, what happened this race? You had two cars that got out. You had Max Verstappen win with Checo in third, and you had a different car in second.
Yeah.
When that has happened so many fucking races.
I
Yeah.
feel like after, you know, a few laps, they spread out enough to where they just kind of remained. There's a few passes and such, but
It was like, I think the beginning, I wasn't even 5 laps in, and Max was like over a second ahead. Not even that. I think it was like 2
Yeah.
laps in, and it's like, well, and then it's like they just stopped showing Max altogether.
Yeah. Ugh. I mean, he had
Yeah.
like heavy graining on his tires at one point, but then they fucking took care of that. And then, you know, Hamilton was like looking like his own self, but it's like way too little too late because it's
Yeah.
only a couple
He's like,
more races left. And
I got this, guys. I think we got a shot here. And it's like there's 2 fucking races left, man. Like
how
so
far back
fucking
is he in the
stupid.
points? He's in like 5th or 6th or 7th.
Who, Hamilton?
Yeah.
We're gonna find out.
Not bad. I mean,
there was
I thought
something else we need.
Like normally I have this up, so I don't know why I don't.
There was also something else we were going to look up for the fans, but I can't remember what it was.
It was the name of that person. It was Adam Sessler.
Ah, that's right.
Adam Sessler.
He was very, very funny video game reviewer on this show called X-Play on G4 TV, formerly
I used to
Tech
watch that.
TV.
Yeah, then it became Esquire.
Yeah, then it became Esquire, and then the magazine. I think the magazine existed first, but this is not a podcast about that shit. So the driver standings currently right now are Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton.
Ah, okay.
How close
And
is that second place battle?
second place battle is 5 points apart. Perez is ahead by 5 points.
Woo!
Yeah. And as far as the constructors go, Mercedes is still in third place by 40 points. Which, if I just may put into perspective, they've had more finishes with 2 cars than Ferrari has, and they are still in third place by 40 points this far down the season.
Oh, Jesus.
Leclerc has carried Ferrari this entire fucking season to a second place finish by the skin of his teeth, and he keeps getting chopped down by poor pit strategy.
Yeah.
I think if at any point he's like, I kind of want to raise, or I'm thinking about going to this team, Ferrari just better be like, yeah, you're right. We'll let you go if you want to.
I'm just saying, like, sure, Max Verstappen is the champion this year, but if you want to choose like driver of the year, Leclerc might be one of the people you want to look at because of the reason we just said. He has finished a lot of the races by himself and has still brought Ferrari to a second place finish and is still third in the standings of the driver championship.
Yeah, he's incredible. He I think there were such high hopes for Ferrari this season, and I really think that he just needs a win. Like, he really just needs
he had a bunch of wins.
Bless you.
Like a good season where it's not like, where just, I don't know, you could start to see like the first few podiums, he was super excited, and then it was like by the rest of them, it's like, yeah,
right, yeah, because he knows he's like, okay, well, yeah, we're getting a podium now, but I could have been in the first place if they didn't fuck up my pit strategy. And it's like Ferrari was like, okay, we're doing this hard, there's no choice. And he's going, well, I think I'm okay right now. And they're like, no, pit now or whatever. And then it totally fucks his race. And then, they have the summer break and they come back and Ferrari's like, well, what do you want to do? And he's like, I'm racing.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do and I'll give you my input. If you want to have a strategy where, this lap, no matter what, we pit, but I'm out here and I'm still gaining time on my lap times and I go, no, I want to stay out. Let me stay out. Now, if the opposite's happening and it's like, I'm not getting any lap times, whatever, then, I'll come in. But I mean, he is not in a position to make that overwhelming decision in the car. He doesn't see lap times, he sees second times. He just knows what he feels. And if they keep telling him, yeah, you're doing well on these old tires, let him stay out. But they don't. They shoot themselves in the foot every fucking time. They're loading pasta shells into the magazine.
I am surprised their team principal, I would be surprised if their team principal was still there at the end of the season.
I don't know why.
I just fucking
I just think that every time that, Ferrari has a team principal that just keeps fucking up, or someone that keeps fucking up, maybe this is bad of me, but I just think of they're probably going out like Mussolini did. They're just hung and set on fire in the town square. It's the Ferrari boss is just not doing good.
I think there was a clip I saw and it was some singer and he gets handed a note from a cartel leader that's basically saying hey, we're going to kill you. So I just imagine it's in the middle of a race. He's on the radio and he hits the button to home base and they're just like, oh yeah, we're fucking, this is it. You're toast at the end of the season, but keep a smile on your face for the next 2 races. And then he's like, ha, ha, ha,
it's like Muppet Treasure Island. He gets the black spot. The black spot. So, I was not expecting to start recording this soon. Trying to get something for gents here. Share to group message.
Jake's trying to set up a joke.
Thanks for that. That helps. So Ferrari had a big announcement this week, and that is that they are entering back into the Le Mans Series races with a Le Mans Series car. The Le Mans Series car looks fucking dope. It looks. I mean, that is. It is amazing. It's a work. It is a proper Ferrari because it is a work of art that sits there on the ground, and it's going to be great. So, if you know anything about Ferrari, you know that if this car does well, the road car Ferrari makes will be a bucket of shit, and their car for next year will be a potato because Ferrari only has enough money to do one thing at a time, and they can't do both. And now they have three things on their plate. So if you want to know what's going to be good next, because in the offseason of both of those races, they're going to release a car for the road. Whatever one does the shittiest. If two cars do shitty, then the one that's coming next is going to do real well.
Well, something tells me 24-hour Le Mans is going to be very successful, or they're going to have a very good road car next year.
Yes. Well, time shall tell. So that's the big Ferrari news. So let's get to.
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say let's get to talking about the news.
News for you.
Right. So we are not going to do a top 10 breakdown in the last two races because they already happened and I don't feel like doing them. So if you want to know the top 10, Max Verstappen won and other people followed. So, that's pretty much what happened. I'm a bit bitter about it, so I'm gonna be Mr. Pissy Pants and I'm not fucking doing it this week. So go fuck yourselves. Look it up. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about the news. We got Audi news.
I was trying to kill a fucking fruit
yeah, were you?
Yeah, I wasn't shushing.
So Audi news. Audi. This news came out right in the middle of when we weren't recording for that week, so you might know more about it than I do at this point. But
would you say this news came Audi? Okay. Anyway, sorry, go on.
So, Dave, please edit crickets after Tyler's terrible joke. It's been a blocking notes. Don't listen to that. Yeah. Anyway, so we have news coming out. We have news that I was going to say and forgot. So I'm trying to say things over again and remind myself what the fucking news is. Tyler derailed. Audi news. So.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Jake thinking out loud.
That is how my head works all the time. It's not easy. So Audi's definitely gonna be in F1. We already knew that, but it's even more solidified than that. They're buying Sauber. So Sauber Alfa Romeo is going to remain a thing until 2026 when Audi can release their engine. Because it'd be really fucking embarrassing to have a team called Audi Ferrari and kind of dumb. So they are waiting until they can get their Audi Works motor into production and into the race car to change it over to the official Audi team. And that's not to say that there won't be any hints that Audi is in the sport now and that it's an Audi team, even though it's still going to be called Sauber. They'll have little stickers here and there, but the contract with the Ferrari Motors and Alfa Romeo is until 2026. So when those both end, we'll have a completely new looking livery on the car and a completely new motor. And Audi is looking to aim high. They don't want to be where Alfa Sauber has finished in past years. They are looking to be fighting their debut year for best of the rest, which is a big ask. So we'll see what actually happens with all that. The other German team was Porsche, and their deal with Red Bull definitely fell straight through. And it's looking nowadays like the reason it fell straight through is because of what Porsche was demanding from Red Bull, and that was to own 50% of Red Bull Motor Works as a whole, which is a big ask. and a hard sell. So they did not get it. But however, there is a company out there that has been looking to get into Formula One. I've already mentioned this before in another podcast, but I'll bring it up again. And the main reason they weren't allowed in F1, even though they've been knocking on that door for many years, is because they were not a car manufacturer. Now there's a car manufacturer that desperately wants to get into F1, can make motors, and has already worked with this team before on Le Mans cars, and that is Andretti Racing.
Don't know if that's correct.
Okay.
I read that Porsche is in talks and is going to announce soon that they are going to be partnering with Williams.
Well, that could be too. The information I was reading was like 2 days old. So that's more recent than 2 days, and it was more like a speculation that because that is like the main thing that's kept Andretti out of Formula One is they are not a car manufacturer. The 11th spot has been reserved for a new manufacturer, and Porsche would be a good fit. But it's more speculation than anything else. So they are thinking about taking over Williams.
Yeah, that's what I heard, is that they were going to come in for Williams, which that's a little older news, but it was still speculation. This is the rumor corner we were talking about.
Yeah, we're in the rumor corner right now.
But that would be interesting because Williams is often thought of as like the junior team for Mercedes, and if they weren't buying Mercedes engines anymore, that could leave hanging in the air. That's more options for people, and then Mercedes would need to find a team that could be like their junior F1 team. So I could bring some sponsorship money to other teams lower on the grid as well.
But what other teams? Because
they're making better offer than Haas is, than Ferrari is to Haas. That's an option.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess they could start supplying engines to Haas, but for some reason I don't see that happening. I mean, they could try and make a play for Aston Martin, but they've already sold them an entire car, and that hasn't worked out too well. So,
yeah. So I don't know. That's just what I heard, because we have nothing based in reality at the moment. But yes. So with Audi entering too, to get back to them, Audi is also a German company and is going to look to hire German drivers as well. So not all hope might be lost for Mick Schumacher. He might have a lifeline come 26. But that's a tough sell to bring someone back on that would potentially be out of F1 for a number of years.
Well, it's not unheard of.
So we'll see how that goes. Because Gene Haas has said that Mick Schumacher basically needs to score points in order for them to offer him a contract extension. No news on that, but Nico Hulkenberg is no longer the reserve and test driver for Aston Martin. So, and he's also in contract talks with Haas. So it's potential that Nico Hulkenberg could return next season as well.
Well, and it would have to be one of the two, because I think they are the two only German drivers that are up for grabs as far as like people that want a seat that are actually qualified to have a seat. And if Haas wants to keep their biggest sponsor, which is that 1&1 sponsor that took over for that Russian fertilizer company, aka bomb manufacturer, then they have to have a German driver. And
they also have a brand new title sponsor as of the weekend of the USGP. It is a cryptocurrency trading platform.
Ooh.
Yeah. So anywho, so we'll see. But yes, you were correct. That German company did want to see a German driver. That's the reason we have Mick Schumacher.
Who's a good fit.
Last on the driver lineup things that I wanted to talk about was Williams has decided to take on an American driver. Do we know what his name is?
Is it Sargent?
Sargent, yeah.
Might be. Let me Google this really quick. Logan Sargent.
Yep.
Logan Sargent will race for F1 in 2020 for Williams F1 in 2023 if he scores the right amount of points on his FIA super license, which is he will need to have he's driving in the last 2 races in their practice sessions. So he needs 2 clean practice sessions, like no offs, no wrecks or anything like that. And then I think he needs to finish 7th or better in his race, in his final F2 race. And then he'll get the keys to a Williams car. If he fails to do that, Williams has no backup plan as of right now.
Right.
Meaning that
Seems a little silly, but
they will, until he can fulfill the points he needs on his super license, that Williams car is gonna sit empty.
Can you imagine if like he only gets to drive the car in practice because he's trying to get points on his license?
Yeah, no.
well, what's his name? Jost Capito. He seemed pretty confident he would be able to do it.
So we'll see. But that's about all I got for rumors and speculations. I will say back to that really quick. That has got to be such a shitty feeling for Nicholas Latifi being like, Williams is like, hey, we're going to hire this guy, though he's not technically qualified to be an F1, but we still think he'll do better than you.
I think that like if you're Latifi though, you got to look at it and be like, yeah, I get it. That makes sense. Yeah. I'm just like the fucking, it took me 20 races to get points out of a season of 23. And
yeah,
you almost didn't get those. I've killed an animal this season so far. So,
oh yeah, he wiped out the freaking gopher or whatever.
Yeah, the gopher fucking destroyed it.
So yeah, so that's all I've got for as far as news and speculations and rumors. It's just been the last 2 weeks, it's just been real quiet. So
yeah.
Well,
that's what's gonna be like during the long break between seasons. So
that's why you're starting your new job.
Starting my new job.
Yeah, Jake's gonna start doing research for us so we can do deep dives on shit.
The head researcher at the podcast. On Sundays, I'll be working 4 to 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I believe in you, and I appreciate the work that you're putting in.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can do it. I believe in you too.
Just gonna wake up early and get it done so I can go play video games and fuck off. Actually, I have to do the yard work too.
That's what I end
So
up
I don't
doing
have a
a
house
lot of
now,
times.
so.
I'll wake up early, do it, and then I'll play video games.
I'll call it research, so they'll be playing the F1 video game.
There you go.
Researching the corners and such.
Yeah, I want to see how fast they're gonna go during practice.
Yeah. Oh, and we Jake, we got to do that. Remember how they compared lap times for a normal like family sedan and then like F1 car?
Oh yeah, we have to do that on the
Yes.
we have to do that on Forza.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That wasn't on the podcast. I think it was like in person. Dave and I were talking.
No, yeah,
about
we were just talking about that at the
because I was looking at that
watching
like
the race.
it was saying that like a family sedan's 40 seconds longer than an F1 car around the track, and I'm like, I bet I could do 38. 40 seconds seems like a long fucking time. I got a family sedan. I can take my car 38 seconds slower than an F1 car for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, anyone got anything else?
I have nothing. So
No, I'm just, if this podcast hasn't been what you're used to, we're sorry. This has been kind of a weird time. We're having an off week and we have 2 really boring races with a lot of news in between. So this is what
a lot
you're
of
getting.
miles.
Yep.
Well,
Dave's not even on the continental US anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I didn't really thought about that.
Yeah. You are the drippings out of the dick of the US. You are the drops that get soaked into the pants after the zip up. Because men are disgusting creatures.
That is true.
Well, we got 2 more races this season. They have offered some exciting race action in the past, so hopefully, because of how the last 2 weeks went, we'll see something.
Is Brazil a track or is it a city?
It's a
or
proper
street
track.
Circuit? Okay.
It's track.
It's
I couldn't remember.
It's a sprint race.
Ooh,
Oh,
sprint
it is
race
sprint.
weekend.
Cool. I'll switch things up a touch.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and we'll give you our race predictions for that race when we do our podcast next week.
Yeah,
because we like to do them the week of because it's more fun. So
yeah,
it'll give us more to talk about for the race or for the podcast next week too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially since we won't have a race to talk about this week.
Yep. Well, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and say, this has been the Tire Preference Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being patient with our short break over the week. And next time we know this is coming, we'll make sure to announce that beforehand. That way you're not sitting there wondering where the fuck the podcast is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We're all learning here still. So.
Well, I for one, I didn't realize I would be so wiped out, which I should have, prepped for, but.
That shit happens. We're all learning. We make the mistakes once and then we'll hopefully do it again, even though we'll make the mistakes one more time for sure. So,
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say I've been Jake. I'm sitting here with Tyler and Dave.
Yo.
And if you want to follow us on social media, even though none of us really do anything, you can follow me at the Red Kennedy 45 on Instagram, the Red Kennedy on Twitter. You can follow the Tire Preference Podcast on Twitter at the Tire Preference Pod. You can follow it on YouTube, which is what you're doing right now. And you can follow Tyler over on Instagram at
T.K.66 at Instagram. On Instagram.
Every time.
I had to put the brakes on that real hard.
You said that at a little too long.
Yeah. I had to catch myself.
Right. Dave, where can we follow you at? Also, you plug your wife's thing because you guys have been posting more shit. So.
Oh yeah. Well, maximum_Dave at the Instagrams there, and also featuring next Friday on the Instagrams. And you can follow the wife and I on our travels. And now you'll see. We went from the mountains, and now we're at the beaches, or the coral rocky beaches.
The swamps.
Not really sandy beaches.
Rocky Mountains to the crag beaches.
Yeah, 6,400 feet to 0. So
yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
You're staying on what looks like the back of Andy Rooney's hands. So even though he's dead. So you can also follow Dave and I. We've decided that now he has better internet. We're gonna start making video game vids. So you check it out at Skip Fritz. You can find the spelling actually on this podcast. Just look at the hyperlink we have at our page. So check all that shit out.
We're gonna be doing it again. So
yeah,
got better internet out here.
Mm-hmm. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and say, keep within track limits.
We'll say fuck the track limits. Hit the gas.
Nah, hit them breaking points. Stay alive.
Yeah, make sure you check those out because they're important too. All right, you bastards. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Love y'all.